Trump's just tacked on a random lie because, why not? When he was talking about German Chancellor Angela Merkel.
I have great respect for Angela, and I have great respect for the country. My father is German, right? Was German.
Yes, it's true. Frederick Trump was born in a very wonderful place in Germany, New York City, in 1905.
That's exactly what happened when Donald Trump began talking about Germany and casually referred to his father as being born there. Within moments, attention shifted away from international relations and toward a much simpler question. Was that statement actually true? Instead of discussing diplomacy, people everywhere were suddenly fact-checking Trump's own family history.
My father's from Germany. Both of my parents are from the EU. Don't forget, both of my parents were born in EU sectors, okay? I mean, my mother was Scotland, my father was Germany. My father is German, right? Was German. And born in a very wonderful place in Germany. And so I have a great feeling for Germany.
My father was born in a wonderful part of Germany, very West Germany.
The reason the story spread so quickly is because it wasn't an isolated remark. Similar versions of the same claim had surfaced before, leaving critics wondering whether Trump had simply misspoken or genuinely believed the story he was telling. Late-night comedians immediately seized the opportunity, turning a factual correction into a comedy routine. Stephen Colbert's joke landed because it highlighted how a single inaccurate detail can sometimes overshadow an entire political message. What was supposed to be a conversation about international partnerships quickly transformed into another debate over accuracy and credibility.
Can get onto issues, and hopefully when I sit down with interviews, people don't start talking about birth certificate like they've been doing. So I feel I've accomplished something really important.
If you're enjoying this story, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We cover the biggest political moments, media reactions, and viral stories you won't want to miss. That moment also reminded many people of another controversy that followed Trump for years: his repeated focus on birth certificates. Long before becoming president, Trump argued that resolving questions surrounding birth records was an issue of major public importance. He described it as a significant achievement, insisting the country could finally move on to more pressing matters. Looking back, critics noticed an interesting irony. A politician who had spent years emphasizing the importance of birthplace and official records was now facing renewed scrutiny over statements involving his own family's history.
And I'll never forget his favorite German saying, "Ich bin ein, forget about it."
That comparison is what kept the conversation alive long after the original interview ended. Supporters argued that everyone occasionally makes verbal mistakes, especially during long public appearances filled with countless questions. They viewed the controversy as another example of critics exaggerating a harmless slip of the tongue. Opponents saw something different. They argued that accuracy matters most when discussing basic facts, especially for someone who has repeatedly emphasized truth, documentation, and public accountability throughout his political career. As the clips circulated across television and social media, the contrast became increasingly difficult to ignore. The more people replayed Trump's earlier comments about documentation and birth records, the more they compared them with his own factual misstatement. That comparison fueled endless discussions, not because the mistake itself dramatically changed history, but because it fit into a broader pattern that critics had been pointing to for years. Every replay invited another round of analysis, another late-night monologue, and another wave of online reactions. Perhaps that is why moments like these continue making headlines long after the speeches themselves have ended. They become symbolic of larger debates about credibility, communication, and public trust. One side sees ordinary human error magnified beyond reason. The other sees repeated examples of carelessness with basic facts. Neither perspective disappears easily, which is exactly why the story keeps resurfacing whenever similar moments occur. In modern politics, it often takes only one unexpected sentence to dominate an entire news cycle. And when that sentence involves a leader's own family history, especially after years of demanding accuracy from others, it becomes a controversy that people continue revisiting long after the microphones are turned off. As the clips circulated across television and social media, the contrast became increasingly difficult to ignore. The more people replayed Trump's earlier comments about documentation and birth records, the more they compared them with his own factual misstatement. That comparison fueled endless discussions, not because the mistake itself dramatically changed history, but because it fit into a broader pattern that critics had been pointing to for years. Every replay invited another round of analysis, another late-night monologue, and another wave of online reactions. Political speeches are usually filled with carefully prepared talking points. But every so often, one unexpected sentence ends up stealing the entire spotlight.